What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving into the brand new SMG. This is the HRM-9. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and this gun is going to be a 5 to 8 shot kill at longer ranges, so you definitely don't want to use it in the longer ranges, but it's pretty decent up close when we look at the time to kill potential in a bit. It's also worth noting it's quite a forgiving gun. In the first 2 damage ranges, it doesn't matter where in the body you're shooting them, it's still going to take the same number of shots to kill. As for headshots though, unfortunately they're just not very good for this gun, and generally speaking, I wouldn't bother trying to aim for the head. After that, let's get into our rate of fire, which is quite fast at 882 rounds per minute. And what this means for our time to kill potential is with a 5-shot kill, we're killing in 272 milliseconds, which is quite a fast time to kill. It's a little bit better than average for SMGs, and you're definitely going to be dominating most of the other types of guns in the game up close. In saying that though, like I said, we don't want to end up in an 8-shot kill range because this will take us 476 milliseconds to kill, which is quite a slow time to kill. As for our range values, we actually have a very impressive maximum damage range. That 5-shot kill range is 16.5 meters, which is great for an SMG. However, the ranges following that aren't so good, so it does fall off pretty quickly, especially once you get beyond 30 meters. That's where I'd consider this gun to be practically useless, and you really want to avoid any fight beyond 30 meters. Right up close and personal though, this is great. Additionally, our bullet velocity is 480 meters per second, which is pretty standard for an SMG, and it's not amazing, but honestly with this gun, once you get to the ranges where 480 meters per second isn't going to be a good enough bullet velocity for you, you have far bigger issues with recoil as well as your time to kill potential, to the point where I wouldn't really consider bullet velocity to be a limiting factor with this. As for hardcore, well, of course, everything is usable in hardcore. I don't consider this to be a good gun at all for hardcore game modes because our 1-shot kill potential is only 16.5 meters, and beyond that, it's always going to be a 2-shot kill to the body. Next, let's get into our Hipfire, which is actually incredible. It's the best in the SMG category while moving, which is really saying something because the SMGs are quite good at hip-firing, and this is the best out of all of them. Now, let's get into our recoil, and this is where this gun starts to fall apart a little bit. As you can see here, while the total magnitude isn't too crazy, it's mainly the initial recoil you have to worry about, and those are the most important shots that you're going to be firing. There are often some pretty wild jumps and a lot of inconsistency with those first several bullets that you fire. And on top of that, while the stats state that it doesn't have much horizontal recoil, sometimes that horizontal recoil can get you. So recoil is something you really have to be aware of with this gun, and this combined with the really slow time to kill potential at longer ranges means that this gun is strictly going to excel in close to somewhat medium range engagements, and anything beyond that, you're going to run into trouble. As for handling though, our aim down sight time is pretty much just average for SMGs, which is a good thing. It's 208 milliseconds. And our sprint to fire time is actually a bit better than average for SMGs at 94 milliseconds. That's quite fast. Then when it comes to our reload add time, this is also right in the realm of average for SMGs, which is great at 1.4 seconds. And then finally for the base stats, let's get into our mobility stats. And we have excellent mobility with this gun across the board. While the sprint speed is slightly below average for SMGs, it's still great at 5.7 meters per second. It's also got a great aim walking speed, and it actually has the best base movement speed out of all of the SMGs. And with that, that's finally going to wrap it up for all of the base stats of the HRM-9. Now let's get into some excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys, and the first one I'm going to share is my accuracy build. And with this one, we're using the Princeps Long Barrel, the Lockshot KT85. That's the muzzle that I found to be best with this. I played around with a bunch of them, and that's just the one that really stuck for me. We also have the SL Skeletal Vertical Underbarrel Grip, the Mark III Reflector Optic, and then finally the Folding Stock. And with this, while this isn't an insanely accurate gun, it is significantly more accurate than the base version of this gun, so that's why I still call it my accuracy build. Also, our aim down sight speed, while it is noticeably slower than the base, it's still incredible at 240 milliseconds. You can still rush around like crazy with this, especially because our sprint out time basically didn't change. It changed by like 1 millisecond, which you'll never be able to notice. And to top all of this off, our range was increased by 25% due to the barrel, which means we have a guaranteed 5-shot kill within 20.6 meters now, so it's incredibly consistent within 20 meters. And then as an added benefit that you probably won't really take advantage of, our bullet velocity is also improved at 624 meters per second. So that one's actually a pretty great all-around build that will allow you to stretch the effectiveness of this gun a bit, but you still shouldn't be using this at like really long ranges. Next, let's get into my stealth build. This is a good all-arounder, and with this one, we're using the Shadow Strike Suppressor, once again that SL Skeletal Vertical Grip, and the Folding Stock. But then I'm using a 50-round drum on this since we do burn through magazines pretty quickly and I like dealing with multiple enemies. And then finally, we have the PCS-90 Assault Rear Grip, which is going to help a bit with recoil. And when we look at our recoil here, well, it's certainly not as accurate as the previous build I shared, and you're still going to get some weird random jumps with it. It is still going to be very noticeably better than just using this gun with no attachments, and within its effective range, you should be able to make this work just fine. As for our aim down sight speed, it's very slightly reduced. It's just 223 milliseconds, which is still a great aim down sight speed. Our sprint out time is improved a little bit, but you probably won't even notice that improvement. And then finally, we are staying off the radar with this, so it's just great for pushing and flanking enemy players. One last thing I want to point out about that setup is you might notice I'm not using an optic, which is a bit out of the ordinary for me. I typically like using my optics in this game, but I've got to say the iron sights on the HRM-9 are excellent, and I really don't mind using them on a build like this. And with that, I've just got one last build that I wanted to share for you guys, and I wanted to get more in the niche territory, so this is going to be my Hipfire and tac stance build, because this gun really excels at both. So with this setup, we're using the Thorn 90 barrel, the Bruin Bastion angled underbarrel, the Schlager ULD 66 laser, the tac handler grip, and then finally that 50 round drum magazine, so we can spray and pray a little bit, because you tend to do that when hip firing and in tac stance. And with this setup, not only do we get a great hipfire spread, and you can get away with just hip firing with this setup if you keep yourself fairly close and personal. When you do need to tighten that up a little bit, you can just go straight into tac stance where we've got a very nice tight spread. And I would say this is actually one of the better guns in the game for just running around and going from hipfire to tac stance, never needing to fully aim down sight with it, and you should be able to find a good amount of success. Now, some of the key stat changes, our aim down sight speed is a bit slower, but that doesn't matter so much when you're using tac stance. Our sprint out time is actually noticeably improved here at 79 milliseconds. That's extremely fast. And our sprint speed is improved slightly as well, so you can just get around the map a little bit faster. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the brand new HRM-9 that came with the Season 1 Reloaded update. As for my thoughts on this gun, I enjoy it. I think it's quite a good SMG. It's nice and consistent up close, has an excellent maximum damage range, and within that range, it's super consistent. However, it is held back quite a bit by its recoil and also by the fact that beyond 30 meters, it's going to take you up to 8 shots to kill. That's a very long time to kill, or a very slow time to kill, I should say. And as a result, I would call this gun good, but not amazing. It's not a top tier gun, but it's absolutely usable. You can use this and find great success with it. And I will be coming back to this gun from time to time as a result of that, especially with that tac stance and hipfire build. I really enjoy using the gun like that. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts on the HRM-9, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, I've covered most of the guns in the game at this point. We've got a few categories to get through still. I will leave a link to a playlist in the description of the video, and also, just in case you're wondering, I will be getting to the TAC Evolver LMG within the next, I'd say, 2 to 3 days. If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.